This is the Martin County Public Advisory, Art Advisory agenda for today. We will call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have minutes from our last meeting. If there are any comments, please make them now, or if there's a motion, we'll entertain that.
Make a motion.
Is there a
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great. Any conflicts of interest that need to be disclosed? No one? We have a comment section, and I have a request to speak from Kathy Harvey. Would she like to speak now? Okay. Please state your name, and you have 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Kathy Harvey from Port Salerno. I am one of the artists that applied for this project for the mooring pocket, Manatee Pocket. This application was originally posted in February. The deadline was February 20th. They extended it to March 15th, at which time it closed. They want to cancel every application that was submitted because some of the applications were incomplete and some they feel were not encouraged to apply because it requested signage. Personally, if you apply for any position at a job, if your application is incomplete, that responsibility is upon you. If someone chose not to apply for a project because of signage, that's also their responsibility. We've been waiting since March for this. They also want to take away a subcommittee that was partially staff and partially people from the community. This was a very controversial building that was built, and I really feel that it's imperative to keep the community involved. We should have a say at what we look at every single day. Staff doesn't have to look at it. Staff looks at a picture. Oh, that's pretty, let's do that. They don't live there. They don't have to look at it. We do. If you are a stained glass or mosaic artist, the very first thing you do is learn to make something that is flat, which is a sign or a wall plaque. If someone does not want to do a sign, I question their credibility of doing a mural of this magnitude. It's 6 foot wide by 7 foot high. If you can't make a flat sign, how can you do a 6 foot by 7 foot mural? This application was very detailed. There's an entire paragraph that explains what was required for the signage. Kayak launching, my 3 minutes is up.
You got more.
It was very detailed at what signage was required. The website was very helpful. They responded within 24 hours. Elise and Susan were also very helpful if you had questions. On the very top of the application is the email and phone number if you had questions. This should not be canceled because somebody did not complete an application or they feel somebody did not apply because of the signage request. Thank you.
Good points.
Anyone else want to speak? I see you stood up, Gary. You'll save it? Okay. All right, we'll move on to new business. Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't want to add anything more than what Kathy's already said. I'm Ellen Aslin. I'm on the NAC board. I would like to know why the subcommittee was done away with. we had an understanding that some of the people on the subcommittee are people that live on Park Drive that will be looking at that building. And we have also heard of some people that were on that committee that are longtime Salerno people that would keep that fishing type of flavor in our community. And like Kathy said, that monster building was never presented to us. It took away most of our park. So we should have some involvement in the mural. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, well, now we'll move on to that subcommittee discussion, right? That's our first item.
That's our first item. Susan Cora's Office of Community Development. So at the March 24th, 2025 meeting, the Public Art Advisory Committee did appoint a subcommittee for this particular project, the artist selection for the Manatee Pocket Mooring Field Upland Facility. So during the discussion that we're going to have about that, I'm also going to touch on the next item because they're kind of intertwined. So I'm going to talk about that for a minute quickly first, and then we'll go back to the subcommittee so that I think you'll have a better understanding of the discussion. So in the next item, we're going to ask the committee to approve re-advertising this project with revised parameters. And those revised parameters would be the mosaic parameters stay exactly the same, and we take out the signage portion. We thought that the signage portion was confusing to people, and we ended up with only very, very few applicants to choose from. So 80% of the folks did not submit the signage, and we thought taking it out would make it better for the artists and certainly give the committee, whatever committee looks at it, a few more options to look at. This does not disqualify anybody. Everybody can reapply. It's very simply done. You take out the signage piece, you reapply, you do exactly the same thing. So going back to the subcommittee. So the subcommittee was appointed. We were counseled that we needed, if we were going to re-advertise the call, we needed to talk about how you guys wanted to do the subcommittee. I think that Kathy made some great points. We did recommend getting rid of the subcommittee. There were a couple of reasons for that. One of them was that Public Works needed to have the mosaic done by a certain time. I spoke with them again, and they said that we did not have to worry about a deadline. Since we have come upon this, they said, no, we can make it so that you guys can have the time that you need to do that. So that hurdle is out of our way, which is a really nice thing. And we also thought that the Public Art Advisory Committee could do the selection process. So when you're doing the selection process, and we've done this before, for a couple of different projects, we realize that it's kind of tough to do it without a subcommittee. And the reasoning for that is that, let's say we have 9 applicants, or 10 applicants, or 12 applicants, or even 7. It's a long meeting, first of all, that we would have to do, because it has to be publicly noticed. So even a subcommittee would have to be a public meeting. So we thought, because we didn't have the time, that just coming directly to you would help us to meet that deadline. We don't have that deadline to meet any longer. The subcommittee would have people, you remember who they were. I mean, I can name them. We had a member of the NAC. We had a resident from Park Drive, somebody from Public Works, which really needs to be on it, somebody from Parks because it's their facility. And I think, who was? Oh, and Martin Arts, because it says that in our ordinance that we need to use them when we do any sort of art selection, that we need to have a representative from an arts organization. So I would say to you that happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to discuss the subcommittee's role with you, but I'm going to present it to you as to the decision of keeping the subcommittee or having it come directly to the Public Art Advisory Committee. So just one last comment, the process would be, if we keep the subcommittee, we do a subcommittee. They would look at the applications, and then they would cull it down based on criteria that they're given. Chuck, I think you served on a subcommittee for us for Cummings Library, so you know what the process is. You can visit the site, you come to the meeting, you look at the criteria, you look at the different artists, we get questions answered if there are some, and then the committee makes a recommendation of, say, 3 projects to you, to the Public Art Advisory Committee, and then those recommendations, if you decide to make 1 recommendation or 2, goes to the Board of County Commissioners for final. That's how the process works. So that's what would happen.
Or alternatively, you could view all the applications.
Right, if you choose to do that. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I know it's a little bit convoluted. So if you have any questions, please feel free.
I've got a comment, maybe. So it sounds like the barriers to keeping this subcommittee are no longer there, so we could keep the subcommittee?
I think that's correct. I mean, I think it's going to take a little
Might take
while
longer.
longer.
Yeah.
You know, in reality, we'll try to get it done and to you guys by the 28th, which would have been July 28th, which would have been your next meeting anyway. So it wouldn't have happened much before that either way at this point.
Okay,
So I'm not even sure that's still a problem.
okay.
And it's fairly vague as far as the design criteria, except it says to go along with the local history and everything.
Yeah, I mean, the design criteria was pretty much that it needs to be a mosaic, because that's what the community had asked for. It gave the size, it showed some pictures of the location, talked about the building, talked about Salerno a little bit. I can't think of anything else. Did it have anything else in it, Elise, that was? No. So it really, I mean, it was fairly open as far as that went.
I mean, you think about it, that village has been a fishing village forever, and was quite a place of commerce back when. And also, there's a lot of boating in that area, so it seems like it would be towards those 2 ends, or one of those ends, that it should be designed around.
Well, that's what it says in the call, is that it needs to reflect the, you know, the demographic and the feel of where it's going. I mean, it's going on a mooring field, so that has everything to do with water and boats and et cetera. And it's going to be right next to the commercial docks.
Right. Still, I feel that's pretty broad. But,
Well, the
I mean, I'm
the
okay,
applications
it's
will
just-
come through,
Right.
and that would be a criteria, certainly, that any committee would look at.
hopefully they have quite a few or people applying for it, so we can get quite a range of
More.
selection.
Well, that was our problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yep.
Yes, Jamie?
So how many applied?
I believe it was 9 total.
And for this scope and size of a project, how many typically average?
I don't have an answer to that, Jamie, I don't know. We've done 2 calls, so I
I mean, just in
Can't tell you.
general, like in the area, like this scope, because I've seen mosaics around. I just don't know how many typically apply for this type of project.
I'm sorry, I don't
I
have.
mean, I think not.
I don't have an answer.
I think
A lot
nine's
of
a
the
lot.
mosaics
I
that-
mean, I don't know too many
It's-
people who do mosaics, you know?
It's a great, I thought it was an excellent,
Have artists in the local.
I thought it was a great response. Unfortunately, most of them are not responsive in terms of the entire call. That's
So
the
you mean the
problem.
signage was the biggest issue?
They were,
and-
it was not, they were non-responsive, correct. They did not supply a design or anything about the signage, that's correct.
And what, if you can explain to me, because I'm sorry, I'm novice to this, what is the signage connected to the mosaic?
So we had looked at doing a mosaic for the building, and we put that out to the community, or I should say, we had looked at doing artwork on the building, put it out to the community, they said mosaic. We were like, great.
Remember
So
that.
we'll do the mosaic. we had wanted to, and it's been talked about, doing some wayfinding signage down there. So with the Park Drive project happening and the sewer happening and the road repaving and everything, the new park stuff, we thought it would be nice to have some new
Oh,
signage
yeah.
as well, because it was looking pretty bad.
I remember that.
Yes.
Okay.
So we thought, oh, great, we'll add the wayfinding signage into this call and get both done at once. Well, I don't know that that was such a good idea in the end. I don't think it worked out for us. We can do the wayfinding signage, and when I say wayfinding signage, it's, you know, in my head, it's something like a sign with, you've seen them, arrows, you know, Cookies Bakery this way, blah, blah, this way, that kind of thing. That's what we were kind of looking for, a place that, something that would say, here's the boardwalk, here's the commercial fishing, here's the mooring field facility, this way to Pirates, this way, you know, whatever, something like that. So we added it on, and we probably
Yeah.
messed up, I think we muddied the waters a little bit, to be honest with you.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember adding that on, but I remember talking about the signage. Is that something that typically happens where you have like a mosaic and a signage on the same application for this type of project?
Again, I can't really answer your question. I mean, I don't know that anything's typical. When you do a call for artists, you're calling for specifically what you're looking for.
'Cause there may
So
be-
they're all different.
Right, right, because they may specialize in mosaics and not so much signage, is what
Well,
you're saying.
and that may be part of the issue.
And that's
that,
probably what happened.
you know, we were looking at, yeah.
But the signage can be included at a later date.
We can do the signage at a later date. We can do it through Art in Public Places. We could do it through the CRA. It's not a big deal
The
to do.
subcommittee now, though, is the question on this.
So the
this
first,
item, so
yes, the
that-
first item is subcommittee.
And
Yeah,
to
all-
have
Yeah.
the input from
The community.
the community
Yeah.
and have the subcommittee sounds like something that we ought.
I think we all agree with that, you know,
Yeah.
having the community input.
Okay, motion.
Yeah, let's look at that one, and then we'll move on to the next section.
I'll make a motion that we reinstitute the subcommittee with the same parameters as before.
So you want to ask for public comment as well, Bert?
Looks like Mr. Earler's up and would like to speak.
This is on the first one, the first item, yeah.
This would be the subcommittee. Okay. This is for the subcommittee, okay.
Feel free.
Sorry, I skipped.
That's all right. He can see where we're going.
We sort of went, we
Gary
bounced
Erler,
around a
Coach
little.
Told you, it was kind of.
Thank you. I think we all are in agreement of it. I think losing the subcommittee was actually losing the one resident of Park Drive. Include the one resident of Park Drive, we're good. We're good.
We had an NAC member as well.
We do have an NAC member, but everybody else was included. You said Public Works, you have an NAC member inside the CRA. You had the Public Works, you had the Parks and Rec. All those people are still included. The only one that was really going to be excluded was the resident. And as long as the resident is still on that, we can still make our timeframes. We're good. Public Works is good with it. The community's good with it. That's all. Thank you. I got another sheet if I need it.
Okay, so we had a motion, and did we have a second? I can't remember. Yes.
Motion needs to be to
The-
deny.
Yeah, you need to actually say the motion. Did you say it?
Is that it?
What were the
Naomi, did you
the
get it?
same parameters as in types of members and number of members?
I said that we should reform the subcommittee, and it be made up of the same type of members as before.
So keep the subcommittee that we have.
Mr.
Yes.
Chair, the motion will be to deny the staff recommendation and keep the subcommittee.
That's correct.
You good?
Anyway, you okay? Motion maker's okay?
A motion makers?
Second's good? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so motion's denied, and we will. keep
No,
the
motion
sub-
passes.
Well, yeah,
Recommendation
motion
denied.
passes, but the recommendation is denied. Sorry. Thank you, Mike. Okay. Next item then is Manatee Pocket Mosaic Project, request to re-advertise call to artist.
That's right, okay. So for this item, again, we'll talk a little bit about we're going to leave the subcommittee behind. We're just going to talk about the call itself. Staff does recommend and continues to recommend that we do a new call so that we do have a little bit more choice in the applicants, and also because we feel that the signage piece did muddy the waters. It's really not a problem for anybody that wants to reapply. You do it through a program on the internet. Everybody can do that. It's a few clicks to reapply for the same thing. Only the call will say only Mosaic. The signage will be taken out. So that's what we would recommend, and I don't know if there's any more questions that anyone has on that. Yeah, I think we kind of answered it, but if not, please ask.
And we're recommending for a 45-day time period.
Same thing, 45 days, and that will, so I kind of looked at what the process would be and the timing would be. So if the revised call goes out tomorrow, let's say you approve that, we send out the revised call tomorrow without the signage, the applications would be due by July 4th, and then we would schedule a subcommittee for, say, the week of the 14th, and we'd still be able to bring it to you at your next scheduled meeting, which is July 28th. And then we would bring it to the Board of County Commissioners at one of their meetings in August. So it doesn't seem to affect us too much timeline-wise.
Any of you guys have comments? Anybody have?
I just had a question.
Sure.
Do you resend it to those who had already applied, to the 9 that had already
Can you
applied?
answer that?
I'll plan to resend it.
Yeah, and I think doesn't the website thing send them?
So what'll happen?
Like their previous, yeah.
Turned off, and then we set up a new call entirely, so then I'll email everyone and just say, hey, we revised the call without having the signage.
Yeah. So everybody would know.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I really didn't realize that the signage had gotten, and that's my bad. I didn't even realize that, but I don't know when that happened.
Yeah, so I mean, live and learn. What can, you know?
I'm learning. The Camino is coming up, so I'm taking notes.
You have a comment, Rex?
I was just getting ready to make a motion, if nobody else was.
Any other discussion before Rex makes his motions?
Public comment.
Oh, yeah, public comment? Yes, Mr. Earler.
Give you a chair.
Is he going down over there?
I guess my question is for the board and staff, the ones reviewing these applications, can the ones that get it right get a bonus point? Some kind of extra credit? I don't know. It seems like, we're going to vote on this until we get it right kind of deal. I appreciate the help. I appreciate the help, but somebody got it right. And in reality, I won this race, now you're going to make me race again. So, I would ask that it stayed the way it was and made the best man, woman, child, whoever did this won. And do-overs are never good, in my mind. I mean, we're rehashing, we're redoing. Take it for what it is, call it good, and we live with it. And that's the way I do it. Thank you.
Just so that you know, this is to the committee, that no one has reviewed them. All we did was look at them and find out who was responsive and who wasn't. That's really all staff does. We don't review them and vote on them or do any of that, yeah. And just like it would happen for any kind of sort of request for proposal, if you will, if you went by purchasing,
Do you meet the criteria?
you have to meet the criteria, yeah. So, and we do have the option of, and the county does as well, in some of the projects they do, we do have the option of putting that aside and doing a new one. So just wanted to let you know legally we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak, ma'am?
Yes, I would. Okay, I just got
I've just been listening to all of this, and I'm not familiar with it. Name is Terry Kogel, and I live in Stewart. My question is that I heard that 80% did not put the signage on their applications. There were only 9 applicants. So how come you don't know how many did not? You won't give us any answer on how many did not do the signage.
Nobody asked me that question, ma'am. Or I would
Well, I
tell
thought-
you,
yeah.
2 of them.
So for sure, there was only 2.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you. They still should stick to the original plan on that. Seriously.
Thank you. Okay. Rex was about to make a motion.
I'm going to make a comment first.
Okay.
I think when you're talking about these two things, the sign and the mosaic, you're talking about 2 types of art. And I can imagine why somebody wants to do the main project but not the other because it's out of their expertise, let's say. So I can understand that. And for us to have the most designs possible to review with the subcommittee, I think it's important we redo this again. So I'm going to make a motion that we go with the county's recommendation on just having the mosaic and give the 45 days again with the subcommittee.
Any comments?
I have a comment. Was that 2 of the applicants that did it right, or 2 that did it wrong?
2 of the applicants submitted designs with a signage.
Thank you.
And you would need to, how do they need to say it?
They need to, the motion needs to be to reject all submissions received under the original call and to re-advertise within the revised parameters as recommended by staff.
That's my motion.
I tend to agree, Rex, that there's only 2, and that's not a lot of options and choices. When 9 submitted, it'd be nice to have the 9 that were all qualified. So, is there a second or any other comments?
I'll second.
I did have out of the 9, did all of them apply for the mosaic?
Yes.
That's what I needed to know. Okay.
Comment.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm pretty good at photography, but there's no way I'd do mosaic. So again, I think those are 2 different things that we're talking about, and I think we should go the way we're going.
Okay, very good. I have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so you said it as far as how the motion was.
Did you get?
It passed.
Okay.
It passed in the way
Thank you.
that was noted. Yes, you're welcome. Let's see, where are we now?
Alicia, you can stay there if you want.
So we are now on to the Gillian Mark Temporary Public Art Opportunity.
Oh, but you need this?
Yeah, or if you want to pull it.
Wait.
Okay. So, things have been moving along with the Gillian Mark Public Art Temporary project. We identified that the patio at Palm City would be a great location for it, just given the traffic, how it would look. So that was brought to the NAC to get their feedback, in which they recommended that they would accept the piece if we were to bring it there. So in my conversations with the global project manager, I learned in the last week that there is another party that is interested in also loaning this piece, but they've been holding it for us. And so, can you pull up that little map too in the mock-up? Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Just so we can, so it's the location map at the top. Maybe I should have gone down there.
Oh.
There we go. Okay. And if you want to zoom in, Jordan made this. Thanks, Jordan. This is where we thought the piece could go. So at the entrance over by where the
Oh, here's
clock
Map
is.
Road.
And
There's
then
the
the
pavilion.
next one over, I did a little photoshopping, so you could kind of get a sense of what it would look like. Our Public Works agreed that they would help us out with pouring a cement slab. It's not going to be too large, and they were happy to help us with that, as well as get in with the forklift to install it and take care of all of that, which is great. And then I think, Susan, if you scroll, there was one more viewpoint. So to just get a sense of how that would all look.
So it's almost as if the trees, they're spaced along there, and that actually is kind of one of the trees that was there.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, that works well.
Right, it would be such a great addition. So given the news of the other party now being interested, I know I didn't have a motion written on here to recommend, but as we know, the loan itself is $33,000, and I would ask that you make a motion to move forward and that we have it installed in Palm City.
Any comments? I like the idea.
Sorry, so I wasn't at the last meeting, so I didn't know what the figure was, that 33,000. Is this something we've got money for?
We actually do.
Okay.
Yeah, I could find the budget page if you need to see it. We did look at it last meeting. We do have the funds. So it's really a question. And there's another piece to that too, which is they loan it to us for a year for $33,000, and then we get to buy it minus the 33 at 50% discount. And then we can, at that time, what we were thinking is that we would shop it to any of the other areas or shop it to any of our private development that's going in that might like to put an art piece.
Okay.
And it's a significant piece as far as nationality and reputation of the art.
Yeah, yeah. They're internationally known. This is one of their signature pieces because it has their rabbit woman and dog man, which they do a lot of, but they're also really well known for their wildlife. They do a ton of elephants and gorillas and rhinoceroses, and huge installations, and give part of that funding to keeping wildlife from those types of animals from being extinct. So they're very well known.
Comment. I would say since Palm City has graciously allowed this to be in their park, that we should have first right of refusal to keep it there after the year.
He's working at it, isn't he?
Good point.
He is working it.
And Palm City should pay for it then.
At the end of the year.
At the end of the year. Right.
At the end of the year.
Any other comments? Okay.
Public comment, Bert,
Oh,
if there is any?
Anyone from the public want to say anything about this? No. Would someone like to make a motion so we can get this in Palm City?
So move.
So moved. Any seconds?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we will hopefully move forward with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next item is Art and Public Places Survey.
Can you make it full screen? Is it full screen?
Well, I could, if you want to tell me how. Did you have it
Negative.
someplace else?
A little negative.
I have it in
No, no.
Adobe Acrobat thing you just minimized.
This?
There we go. Okay.
It's the same.
So since the end of January, we've been conducting an online survey for art and public places. During Arts Fest, we had yard signs that were out throughout the festival. We have one currently in front of the Courthouse Cultural Center. And we've been doing targeted e-blasts just to get a read on what the public thinks about what we're doing with public art. So I just wanted to give you a little snapshot of the results that have come in since that time. And as you can see, 79.6% of our community so far thinks that public art is important for enhancing our community. So that's a great figure.
Very important.
Yeah. And then the next one here, how they rate our overall program. So excellent and good are two of the biggest pieces of the pie. That's great. But 14% think we can do more, and 2%, I know.
Who are those two?
Those 2% says otherwise. And then this I thought was interesting, the types of public art the community would like to see. Of course, murals being a really big one there. Sculptural, functional art, so a great example of that, like the mosaic benches in Rio. Interactive installations, temporary, so now we get to fill that one, so that's exciting. And then this one about where the public thought public art has its biggest impact. So being downtown and commercial areas, parks and recreational spaces, and neighborhoods and residential areas were the top 3. And then this was just a summation of some of the feedback. We did have like an open comment section. So the community wants to prioritize durable, vandal-resistant materials, engage local schools and community members, showcase our local culture, history, and identity, increase visibility through murals, sculptures, and installations in public areas, and broad support for more public art across the county, and provide opportunities for local artists to participate and be celebrated. So I just thought that was interesting to share, and we're continuing to solicit more surveys and encourage everyone to take it.
Yeah, we'd like to bring that to the Board of County Commissioners too at some point.
Great. Yeah, makes us, solidifies our,
Yeah, and I think it shows that we're trying to get out there and let people know what we're trying to do.
yeah. Any comments from the members? Nice work. Thank you. We are through the main part of the agenda and on to the comment section. We have a public comment section now, if anybody's interested. Looks like Mr. Earler's up.
Just a question, I couldn't do it, I already spent my 3 minutes. Gary Earler, Port Salerno. I like to play by the rules, so that's why the last 3 minutes, and I'm normally not here this late, and I don't expect to keep you all here much later. I guess my question is for staff, and the mosaic had a $15,000 budget on it. With the signage, is there a new dollar amount suggested for the mosaic? Does it still stay 15 and the signage comes out, is my question, and that was part of what I wanted to bring up before we reconsidered, all cost factors involved. So that's my question. If it gets answered today, great. If not, I'll hear about it somewhere else. Thank you all again for being here.
We'll move on. Any member comments? Staff comments? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.